When you come at healing from the place of I need to heal so I can love myself, you cannot heal. All right. Hey there, and welcome to today's episode where I want to talk about learning to be more loving to yourself and why that is critical for healing when it comes to OCD and anxiety, but really just any healing in general, physically, chronic pain, right? Relationships. This really applies across the board. This is more of an overall principle that that I think is worth diving into because I have learned that people that deal with OCD and anxiety are oftentimes not very loving to themselves. And so hopefully this maybe wakes up a little bit of things that maybe you're not considering that maybe we could start integrating into our practice. So what do I mean by loving ourselves? Now, a lot of times when we talk about these concepts of ways of being towards ourselves, it's useful to extrapolate that into thinking about how we would act towards someone else, because a lot of times we are much more loving to others and unconditionally loving. So let's look at some ways that people with OCD are unloving to themselves. So the first way is really not allowing yourself to have normal human experiences. And, you look at things like intrusive thoughts or anxiety or, emotion, uh, sensations in the body, right? All of this stuff. The reality is these are normal human experiences to a certain degree. What makes them abnormal is that people with OCD and anxiety have these very hard stances that I'm not allowed to experience that. And so when we have emotion, we suppress and repress and repress and push, avoid, escape, try to vent it out, project it, spiritual bypass, escape using substances or any distraction that we can, stay super busy, achieve, right? Escape into the mind and ruminate. All these things are things that are just patterns of everyday patterns that I see people engaging in. And we have this narrative that I'm not supposed to experience emotions that I don't want. And more importantly, the thoughts that correspond with those emotions are definitely something I'm not supposed to experience. And so our resistance and our constant rejection of ourself experiencing these things leads to this filling up of this emotional tank. And then as we do that, we start engaging in more compulsions to give us temporary relief. And this loop starts to form. And this loop self-perpetuates, and it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And that is really what OCD and anxiety is. That is the problem of OCD and anxiety summarized, is it's your resistance to normal experiences compounded leads to an extraordinarily amount of internal pressure that becomes unbearable. And then life becomes about simply trying to manage and cope with that while it just kind of bleeds into everything that you do. Hence why in Restored Minds, you'll see that our center point, our cornerstone, is learning how to become non-resistant, because that is really one of the critical aspects of healing. Now, how do you become non-resistant? Well, one of the ways is to become more loving towards yourself. Because I want you to do a thought experiment for me. Think of the thing that you think is the most repulsive aspect about you, the most disgusting part of yourself, the part that you would never tell your priest or your family or your loved ones. It's because if you knew, if your brain is saying that if they knew this, they would reject me. They would never talk to me again. I would be a leper. I'd be ostracized, outcasted, all of that. What is that? And now that you have it in mind, what I want you to do is I want you to ask yourself, well, okay, let's pretend that either someone that I really love was having this experience, or let's say that I don't know, a 5, 6 year old child was having this experience, someone who just embodies like the innocence of humanity, right? And they're having this experience and they're ashamed and they're afraid and they're, just walking away from the group. No one even touch me, anything like that. What would you actually say to that person? Because I guarantee it's nothing close to what you would say to yourself when you have it. And then the question that we need to ask is, well, why do I hold myself to standards that I would never hold someone else to? Why are other people allowed to have thoughts? Why are other people allowed to have emotions? And I'm not. And this is where we're going to get into a little bit of maybe some rough ground here. But what we have to realize is, like, if we're holding ourselves to a different standard than everybody else, like, why do we have an inflated viewpoint of ourselves? Why do we see ourselves as superior to other people? Why are they allowed to be humans and we're not? Again, this is unconscious, right? It's not like you're consciously thinking that, but in order to not allow yourself to have the same experience as someone else, you have to hold yourself in a different view of others, right? Where did that come from? Why do I do that? And because in order to be loving to yourself, you have to let yourself be human. It's like one of the most obvious things, but it's something that very few of us do. What does human mean, first off? Well, it means I have to allow myself to have human experiences, but I also have to allow myself to be imperfect. I have to allow myself to make mistakes, to allow myself to sin, for that matter. I mess up. I'm human. There you go. See, what healthy individuals have is a loving relationship with themselves, not a relationship that just writes off every bad behavior, that they can just do whatever they want. See, this is where the fear mind tends to go very dramatic, right? It's like, well, if I do that, I'm just going to become this heathen, terrible person, right? All this stuff. But let's think about it, right? What is being loving to yourself? And I'm not going to go fully into it here because we could talk for 5 hours here on just this one topic. But I want to just start with like some very simple stuff. And I want you to identify for you what it actually means. What does it actually mean for you to be loving to yourself? Because until you learn to even start doing that, healing is going to be very challenging, because what you're always going to be doing is you're going to be trying to heal so you can love yourself, so that you can finally be acceptable, so that you can finally be at peace with yourself, because I'm going to get rid of all this stuff that I don't like, and then I'll be okay. Then I'll be allowed to be me. Then I'll give myself permission to pursue the things I want to pursue, to be the person I want to be, in all of this stuff. See, Jung had it right. Jung, in my opinion, when he talked about integration, and again, this is not all that different than when Maslow talked about self-actualization, when Dr. Hawkins talks about, again, consciousness and becoming conscious, right? Power versus force, or, when people, I don't particularly like this word, but because I think it just gets thrown around all weird, but with the word enlightenment, right? What does that even mean? See, the thing is that it's not about like, I'm only good. Jung, when he talked about integration, it was like acknowledging everything about yourself and allowing it to be an integrated whole. Not that you need to operate from it, not that you need to allow fear or anger or grief or, any of this stuff to run you, or to you even need to do anything with it for that matter, but acknowledging its presence, understanding that it's part of you. See, Jung talked about the shadow, which were these aspects of ourselves that we felt were revolting, not allowable. So we put them in the shadow. And what we do is we often project them out into the world to protect ourselves from just the fact that they are within us. And when you talk about fear and you talk about guilt and you talk about anger and desire and shame and despair and hopelessness and all of this lower emotion, and more importantly, all the crazy thoughts that happen when you're in these fields, what you understand about healing is that all has to be integrated. It's not about, hey, can I just keep running from this and distract myself from them? Can I cope and manage those and kind of keep them at bay and then really do what I want to do? Because it's like, think about what you're doing. It's like, what really is more important than learning to do this, learning to truly integrate and love yourself? See, we come up with all these excuses. Well, Matt, you don't understand. I don't have time to do this because I have to work. I don't have time to do this because I'm a parent, and I don't have time to do this because I have these trips and I have this and I have that, and then, whatever, right? But let's like really think about that for a second. What you're doing is bringing a fractured part of you into that. The reason that we heal, the reason we integrate, the reason we do this work is because it allows us to bring the best version of ourselves into every aspect of our life, into our parenthood, into our relationships, into our, work, wherever we are, every interaction we have. And putting it off and telling yourself that whatever you put it off for is more important than this is actually, again, another act of not loving yourself. Because if you loved yourself, you would prioritize yourself. You would invest in yourself. Here's another aspect of not loving yourself. I'm going to figure out all this on my own. I don't need help. I don't want to, again, holding on to the pride of like, I'm not that bad. I can fix this myself. I'm going to do this myself. I shouldn't have to invest in this. I shouldn't have this problem to begin with. That pride comes in. And again, would you ever tell anyone else dealing with that advice? Would you ever tell someone putting it off down the road to delay it? No, you wouldn't. You would tell them how important they are. You would tell them that they matter, that they're an amazing investment, and working on themselves and learning to do this and actually getting the correct guidance is something every single person needs. It's like, I've never understood the idea of like, I'm just going to do it myself, because it's like, why? Why would you subject yourself to that? You've never done it. It's kind of like, think of any other aspect of life. If you're going to go skydiving for the first time, are you just going to be like, I'm just going to pack my parachute myself, and when I jump, I'll figure it out? I guess you could. It may work. But it's like, in any aspect of life, when we haven't done something, the reason we have other humans here, the reason people were born before us, the reason we exist as a collective is to help each other navigate aspects that we've never navigated, because that is what allows us to serve each other. That's what allows us to grow as a collective. That's what allows us to expand consciousness. So to be more loving to oneself, and I guess this is kind of the point I'm trying to make here today. When you come at healing from the place of, I need to heal so I can love myself, you cannot heal. You set up a barrier that indirectly prevents healing from ever taking place, because you're healing from a place of self-rejection. You're attempting to heal from rejection. Love is the ultimate healing field. That's like where healing exists. You may be able to manage and cope and put out a face that, I got better. I hear that, I got better. I'm better than where it was. Okay, great. But I was never interested in better. I was always interested in, when I was like, I'm going to learn how to heal. I'm going to learn how to recover, whatever that meant. And I intuitively knew it was available, just like you do too. The reason you're listening to this today is because there's a deep part of you that knows healing is truly possible. And that is the hope that we cling to. And we're also terrified of it because it means that we have to let go of all the ways that we've been doing stuff. And what healing is, and what healing must have to be facilitated, is all rooted in learning to love yourself. And learning to love yourself is learning to be with and confront the areas of yourself that you don't want to, that you want to reject, that you don't want anyone to know about, and a willingness to be honest about them, a willingness to experience through whatever needs to be experienced, a willingness to seek guidance from people that you need guidance from, to swallow your pride and admit that I don't know the way, and that's okay, right? That's okay. To invest in yourself when you need it, to treat yourself like you would a best friend. Like, if your friend needed something, would you get it for him? And when you need something, why don't you get it for yourself? You know, like, why not? I mean, again, these are all just questions that I want to ponder today or I want you to ponder today, because it's like, if you are unaware that all this is just going on underneath the surface and is just kind of operating behind the scenes of, well, I'm not worthy of that. Why not? Why do you have that narrative about yourself? Until you can begin to shift from self-rejection to self-love, all of the tools and resources and information I'm not going to say they're irrelevant, but they're minuscule at best, because you're filtering them through the wrong lens to begin with. So these are some ideas to consider. And when it comes to learning to love yourself, one of the ways is to start just looking at how you would treat someone that you really do love unconditionally, and start doing that for yourself, even if you don't feel like you deserve it. So that's a message for today. I hope it's helpful. Hope you received it. And if you're interested in getting help, getting guidance, please check out the links in the notes. Head over to restoredminds.com. And with that, wishing you all a great day and a great week. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Hey there, this is Matt Codde, and I just want to say thank you for taking the time to watch that episode. And if you found it helpful, we have some other episodes available for you as well that we've linked here. And if you're looking for additional resources, I have links down in the notes, or you can head over to restoredminds.com/start to get started with some new free resources that we have available. Thanks so much, and look forward to seeing you soon.